Hey guys, what's up? Um, okay, so what I'm going to talk about today is being different ages in different eras, okay? So I'm 42 years old, okay, and it's 2023 right now. What does that mean? What does it mean to be an age in a different era? Like, why is that special? Well, the reason it's special is because nobody has ever been that age in that era. You're the first person, no matter what your age is. And, there's certain things in a human life which happen to everybody, and that's why we can relate to generations past because, there are certain things regarding mortality, love, just those things that happen to everybody, and we can relate to the people from the past. But what is interesting is that our society is changing so fast now. Like the difference between even just like in the last 20 years, I don't know if you guys remember what life was like in the year 2000 even, which is, we had internet, we had all kinds of stuff that we have today, but life is so different now than it was back then. There's been a lot of technological changes, there's been a lot of social changes. People's mentality, is completely different. So I think, I'm 42, and being 42 in 2023, it's quite interesting, and I think that it is worth sharing some of these, some of my feelings. I think because imagine I was born in 1980, right? Before, I grew up in a time where there's no internet. Obviously, there's no phones. We're out playing in the street. There's no safe spaces. There's no helicopter parents. We were very free. We were very free. I was lucky to have to grow up where I grew up, and with the parents that I had. But just the whole vibe in the culture, it makes it seem now like we're living in a very conservative time. Very conservative time in some ways. In other ways where, things have changed and they've become more liberal. But in terms of just you know, personal freedoms and things that just went under the radar, things that you could get away with. And I'm not even talking about anything bad. I'm talking about just things that you were free to discover at your own pace and in a way that was unique to you. It seems that, sexuality, I guess, is a big one. Like, we didn't, any 10-year-old today can be watching hardcore pornography on their phone. And that's really sad to me, because we grew up, so much more gradual, like the sexual discovery of just feeling your way naturally, instead of seeing that very adult world portrayed the way it is in pornography. And I can remember when porn did start to become available online, as the classic, everybody says, the picture, is loading like that. Oh, there's a boob. Oh, there's some bush. That's what it was like. But as high speed porn became available, I couldn't imagine having that as a 10-year-old. Just the overload, the sensory overload that would cause, and just I can see, because it's so easy to see how you could just become jaded and just your brain is just overloaded and it's too much too soon, way too much too soon. And I think the same goes for like just knowing like what everybody else in the world is doing and thinking. Like, do we really need to know? Like, to kind of have a fulfilling life, do you really need to know, like, what someone across the other side of the world is thinking, or like, because the internet manufactures these consensus opinions. It's like it's just and it's accentuated, and it's pushed by these big companies that are like, okay, this is the view you should have, this is what you should think, this is what you shouldn't think. And that is very fascistic. Compare that to growing up in a time where you could just like slowly develop your own take on the world through movies that you'd see here and there, music that was maybe on the radio, people that you would associate with at school, or like your family, your close friends, whatever. Because the human brain, I don't know if we're really evolved to deal with the amount of information and the exposure to this, the sheer like amount of content. Like, it's, yeah, and then like the consensus opinions that are sort of like arrived at by who? Not like by anyone with any moral authority, by corporations, by corporations whose real incentive, in spite of what they say in their terms of service and that type of thing, is money. Their motivation is money at the end of the day, and growing their brands. And they're at a point now that they're so big that it seems to be no escape from it all. And that, I think, is very, very harmful to society as a whole, and especially to young people. I'm 42, and at 42, I'm not done. I mean, I'm not like 80 years old. My mind is not like, but I've got a lot of life behind me basically at this point, and a lot to reflect on. And I can see where we've come from to a certain extent and where we're going. And, I guess it's not always, easy to express just a natural reaction to what's happening, because you're gonna get canceled, or you're gonna upset somebody, or you're gonna break the terms of service and get deleted. Like all these things that are just should not have any place in discourse and discussion and debate. Like, we shouldn't be thinking in terms of like, I'm gonna get canceled if I say the wrong thing. You should be able to say the wrong thing and debate with someone, and maybe they convince you that what you said isn't the right thing. Maybe you convince them, and we move forward naturally. But yeah, these consensus realities that have kind of consensus opinion, I guess I'm saying, like, and being 42 in 2023 is a very interesting. I think I have a very interesting perspective, and other people my age, a lot of them, like, I'm not married, I don't have kids, okay? And I have I have a lot of free time to think about stuff. I'm not swept up in any, cultural movements. I'm not left, I'm not right, I'm not any of that. I try as much as I can to be a free thinker, and just to look at what people are thinking, sure, but build my worldview according to how I best, how I see fit. Yeah. I'm tripping, guys. I'm sorry. I'm gonna sign off. I'm high on mushrooms.